When we say your mindset creates your momentum, what we are really saying is that the way you think quietly decides how far you will go before you ever take a single step. Long before the world responds to you, long before opportunity shows up, long before results appear, your inner dialogue is already shaping the direction of your life. You don't move forward because conditions are perfect. You move forward because you believe progress is possible. That belief is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is simply steady, and steady thinking creates steady motion. Most people wait for motivation, they wait to feel confident, they wait for reassurance, but momentum does not come from waiting. Momentum comes from acting even when certainty is missing. When you wake up believing that today has something for you, you show up differently. You speak differently, you listen differently, you try differently, and those small differences in behavior create massive differences in outcomes over time. The human brain is designed to look for evidence to support what it already believes. If you believe nothing will work out, you will see obstacles everywhere. If you believe things will work out, you will start seeing options, same world, same challenges, different filter. And the filter you choose determines whether you feel trapped or empowered. That is why mindset is not just positive thinking. It is disciplined thinking. It is choosing to focus on possibility instead of limitation, even when fear is loud. When you act as if things will work out, you don't become reckless. You become brave. You are willing to have conversations you would normally avoid. You are willing to ask for what you need. You are willing to take one more step instead of stopping. And that extra step is where momentum lives. Success rarely comes from one big move. It comes from 1,000 small decisions to keep going when quitting would be easier. Look at anyone who has built something meaningful. They didn't know it would work. They simply believed enough to keep trying. They believed enough to show up again. They believed enough to learn from failure instead of being defined by it. That belief created consistency, and consistency created momentum. When your mindset is right, even setbacks have value. You don't ask, why is this happening to me? You ask, what is this teaching me? That shift alone keeps you moving forward when others stop. Because momentum is not about speed, it is about direction. As long as you are moving in the right direction, even slowly, you are winning. So when you choose to act as if everything will work out, you are not lying to yourself. You are giving yourself permission to move. And movement creates confidence, confidence creates clarity, and clarity leads you to the next right step. That is how ordinary people do extraordinary things, not because they are fearless, but because they refuse to let fear decide their future. Clarity of why is what turns noise into focus. In a world full of opinions, advice, pressure, and comparison, most people are not lost because they lack talent. They are lost because they lack direction. They don't know what they are building toward, so every distraction feels important. But when your why is clear, something extraordinary happens. You stop reacting to everything around you, and you start responding to what truly matters. Your why is not what you do. It is not your job title, your income, or your goals. Your why is the reason you wake up and choose to try again. It is the reason you keep going when nobody is watching. When you know that reason, confidence stops being something you pretend to have and becomes something you live. You no longer need to prove yourself to everyone, because you are grounded in something deeper than approval. Most people try to build confidence from the outside in. They wait for praise, they wait for success. They wait for recognition, but real confidence is built from the inside out. It is built when you make decisions that are aligned with your purpose. Every time you act in line with your why, you reinforce your belief in yourself. You don't feel confident because things are going well. You feel confident because you know you are doing what you are meant to do. When challenges come, and they always do, a clear why becomes your anchor. Without it, every obstacle feels personal. With it, every obstacle feels meaningful. You stop asking, is this worth it? Because you already know the answer. You keep moving, not because it's easy, but because it matters, and people can feel that. When you speak from your why, your words carry weight. When you make choices from your why, your actions carry integrity. You don't have to convince others to believe in you because your consistency does it for you. This is how trust is built. This is how leadership is created. Think about the moments in your life when you felt strongest. It was not when everything was perfect, it was when you knew what you stood for, when you knew why you were there. That clarity gave you the courage to be bold, to say no to what didn't serve you, and to stay committed to what did. Acting as if everything will work out is not blind optimism. It is grounded confidence rooted in purpose. You believe things will work out because you know why you are doing what you are doing. Even if the path changes, the destination remains meaningful, and that meaning gives you strength. When your why is clear, fear loses its power. Doubt becomes a signal to check your alignment, not a reason to stop. You trust yourself more, not because you have all the answers, but because you know your direction. And when you know your direction, every step forward, no matter how small, feels like progress. That is the kind of confidence that doesn't shake. Faith is not about pretending you are certain. Faith is about choosing to move even when you are not. It is the quiet decision to take the next step without seeing the whole staircase. Most people think they need clarity before they act. But in reality, clarity often comes because you acted. Faith is what bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. When you act with faith, you are telling yourself something powerful. I trust my ability to figure things out. That trust changes everything. You stop needing guarantees. You stop waiting for perfect timing. You stop asking for permission. And the moment you stop waiting, your life starts moving. Consistency is not built on motivation. Motivation is emotional, and emotions change. Consistency is built on faith. Faith that your effort matters. Faith that your small actions are building something bigger than you can see right now. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you are proving to yourself that you are dependable. And self-trust is the foundation of every successful life. People often quit not because they fail, but because they lose faith. They stop believing that what they are doing will lead anywhere meaningful. But when you believe in the purpose behind your work, you keep going even when progress is slow. You understand that growth is not always visible. You understand that seeds grow underground before they ever break the surface. Acting as if everything will work out does not mean ignoring reality. It means choosing to see beyond it. It means understanding that today's struggle is part of tomorrow's strength. You don't avoid difficulty. You walk through it with the belief that it is shaping you for something better. Faith also changes how you handle fear. Fear does not disappear, but it no longer controls you. You feel it, you respect it, and then you move anyway. Because you know that staying where you are is often more dangerous than stepping into the unknown. Growth requires uncertainty, and faith makes uncertainty feel like opportunity instead of threat. Every meaningful achievement in history began with someone believing before there was evidence. They didn't have proof, they had purpose, they had conviction, and that conviction kept them going when others doubted, laughed, or walked away. Faith does not guarantee success, but it guarantees progress, and progress is how success is eventually built. When you live with faith, your actions become bold but not reckless. They become intentional. You choose what to invest your time, energy, and heart into. You don't scatter yourself everywhere, you commit. And commitment is what turns dreams into reality. So, when you decide to act as if everything will work out, you are really deciding to trust yourself, to trust your journey, to trust that even if things don't happen the way you expect, they will still lead you where you need to go. That trust gives you the strength to keep showing up, to keep trying, and to keep believing, and that is what makes anything worthwhile possible. Challenges are not interruptions to your life, they are your life. They are the moments that test what you believe, what you value, and how deeply you are willing to commit to the path you have chosen. Most people want growth without discomfort. They want progress without pressure, but it doesn't work that way. The very things that feel like they are slowing you down are often the things that are preparing you to go further than you ever imagined. When something becomes difficult, the natural reaction is to assume something is wrong, but difficulty is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of expansion. Muscles don't grow without resistance. Confidence doesn't grow without challenge. Character doesn't grow without being tested. Every obstacle is asking you one simple question: will you rise to meet this, or will you retreat back to what is familiar? People who act as if everything will work out understand something others miss. They don't see problems as proof they should stop. They see problems as proof they are on the right path, because if what you are doing matters, it will demand something from you. It will stretch you. It will force you to become more than you were yesterday. Growth feels uncomfortable because you are leaving behind an old version of yourself. The part that doubted, the part that played small, the part that stayed safe. And every time you push through a challenge, you are proving to yourself that you are stronger than the story you used to believe about yourself. Setbacks are not the opposite of success. They are part of it. When things don't go as planned, you are not being punished. You are being redirected, you are being taught, you are being refined, and if you have the courage to keep going, those lessons become your greatest advantage. Think about the moments in your life that shaped you the most. They were not the easy days. They were the days you wanted to quit but didn't. The days you were scared but kept going. The days you failed and still showed up the next morning. Those moments built your resilience. They built your depth. They built your ability to handle more. When you expect challenges, you stop being surprised by them. You stop wasting energy on frustration and start using that energy to adapt. You become flexible instead of fragile. And flexibility is what allows you to survive change and thrive in it. Acting as if everything will work out does not mean expecting a smooth journey. It means trusting that even the rough parts have purpose. You believe that every challenge is shaping you into someone capable of handling what is coming next. That belief gives you strength when things are hard and patience when things are slow. You don't grow when everything is easy. You grow when you refuse to give up when it's hard, and every challenge you overcome becomes proof of who you are becoming. Not someone who avoids difficulty, but someone who is built by it. Belief is not something you keep quietly inside your head. Belief is something people can feel. It shows up in your posture, in your tone of voice, in the way you walk into a room and the way you handle uncertainty. Long before you say a word, the world has already decided how to respond to you based on the energy you bring. When you truly believe in yourself and in where you are going, you give others permission to believe in you too. Most people think they have to convince the world. They try to explain themselves, justify their dreams, and defend their choices. But belief doesn't need to be defended. It needs to be lived. When your actions are aligned with what you believe, people don't need explanations. They see it, they trust it, they feel it. The world responds to consistency. When you show up with the same commitment, the same values, and the same intention day after day, something powerful happens. People begin to see you as reliable, and reliability builds credibility. That credibility opens doors that talent alone never could. When you act as if everything will work out, you don't beg for opportunities, you attract them because confidence is magnetic. Not loud confidence, not arrogant confidence, but quiet certainty. The kind that comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for. That certainty makes people feel safe around you, and people want to work with those who make them feel safe. Belief also changes how you handle rejection. When you don't get the result you wanted, you don't collapse. You don't make it mean you're not enough. You see it as feedback, not failure. You adjust, you improve. You keep moving. That resilience sends a message to the world that you are not easily shaken, and people respect what doesn't break. Your belief shapes your behavior, and your behavior shapes how others experience you. If you believe you are valuable, you set boundaries. If you believe your work matters, you give it your best. If you believe your future is bright, you don't settle for what is comfortable. And as those choices add up, the world starts to treat you the way you treat yourself. Think about leaders you admire. They don't walk into a room asking for approval, they walk in carrying a sense of purpose. They don't rush to speak. They listen, they don't panic when things go wrong, they stay steady. That steadiness is belief in action. Acting as if everything will work out is not pretending you are invincible, it is choosing to trust that you can handle whatever comes. That trust creates calm, and calm creates clarity, and clarity attracts people, opportunities, and support. When you believe deeply in your path, the world begins to align with it, not always quickly, not always easily, but steadily. Because belief changes how you move, and how you move changes what you receive, and that is how a life of purpose is built. Every journey worth taking begins with a decision, not a decision to be perfect, not a decision to have everything figured out, but a decision to believe that your effort matters, to believe that your voice has value, to believe that no matter what stands in front of you, you have the strength to move forward. When you choose to act as if everything will work out for you, you are not denying reality, you are shaping it. Because the world does not respond to what you want, it responds to what you expect. When you expect progress, you look for opportunities. When you expect growth, you embrace challenges. When you expect things to work out, you stop treating setbacks like the end of the story and start treating them like part of the process. And that shift in perspective changes everything. You begin to walk with purpose instead of hesitation. You begin to speak with clarity instead of fear. You begin to act with intention instead of doubt. And over time, those small changes in how you show up create a completely different life. Acting as if everything will work out doesn't mean you will never struggle. It means you will never stop. It means you will keep learning, keep adjusting, and keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. You will trust that every step, even the difficult ones, is taking you closer to who you are meant to become. When you live this way, you stop waiting for permission. You don't need validation from the outside because you are anchored on the inside. You know why you do what you do. You know what you stand for. And that knowledge gives you the courage to take risks others are too afraid to take. This is how dreams turn into direction. This is how fear turns into fuel. This is how ordinary people build extraordinary lives. You don't need more talent. You don't need better timing. You don't need someone to believe in you. You need to believe in yourself because belief is the beginning of everything. It is the spark that starts the fire. It is the quiet strength that keeps you going when nobody is watching. It is the reason you try one more time when you feel like giving up. So go forward with confidence, go forward with clarity, go forward with faith. Speak as if your words matter. Work as if your efforts count. Dream as if your future is waiting for you, because it is. When you act as if everything will work out, you stop living in fear and start living with purpose. You stop shrinking and start expanding. You stop doubting and start becoming. And that is where real success lies, not in the absence of struggle, but in the presence of belief. So choose belief, choose courage, choose to act as if everything will work out for you. Because when you do, eventually it will.